What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Pancis. If it's your first time tuning in, please be sure to smash that subscribe button. If not, thanks for your continued support. You guys can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Pancis if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you just want to follow me on Instagram. We do post behind the scenes sometimes on my story, so if you guys want to stay tuned there, you can as well. But today, if the title of this video had not given it away yet, we are going to work on my 2011 Saab 9.5 bumper. So let's hop into this. I got some good news, and let's do it. Alright guys, so the good news here is if you guys look at the bumper from here, it looks almost perfect, right? But of course, as you get closer, you notice that there is a crack over here. So the good news here, guys, is these bumpers are not only really rare and hard to find, but it's also expensive. And in this case, I've left this thing sitting like this for the last couple days since we took it off the car. And it's kind of sitting in its original form. And if we just remove some of these plastic trims, I bought a plastic welder, and we're going to try to save the plastic by welding it back together. And the good news is that this damage is really local to this little area here. So instead of paying a shop to paint the whole bumper, I already purchased, which I'm waiting for, is aerosol can with the paint matched, which I've used many times on many other projects, and it works. And we're gonna just service this area here with fresh paint after we weld it. So I'm hoping the end result here is that this looks amazing. So in today's video, we're gonna start to disassemble some of this, and I'm gonna start to weld this back together. And this not only is gonna save me a lot of time and hassle finding a bumper, but it's also gonna save me at least $1,000. Because even if I find one for $700 or $800, I still have to paint it, most likely. So in this case, we're saving ourselves a ton of money, and we're pretty fortunate with that. So far, so good with this car. I'm hoping the rest of this project goes as smooth as everything that you've seen so far. We've really been getting lucky on everything up until this point. So let's continue the luck, and I'll stop talking. I'm gonna just kind of test an area back here. I was messing with this the other day. This is a fastener for underneath the car, and it cracked here, as you guys can see. So I'm gonna just test the welder here first, just to get used to it. And then we'll go ahead and remove all of this stuff here. Pretty much the center and the left side is all we need to do. The rest of it we can leave intact. All right, so some tools that you will need to do this job if you guys are doing it yourself is a sander. I have one of these sanders from Bosch. It's like a multi-purpose use, obviously. It's got like a saw, it's got sanders. But anyway, so heavy duty sander to sand down the plastic areas. And then over here, I bought this as well, is the plastic welder, which comes with the heating iron, some metal grates here for reinforcement, and the different plastics. So in this case, we're gonna be using the black plastic here for the bumper. And yeah. Then I also bought these clips to help hold the plastic together while we're working on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding and get into this. So guys, I'm gonna just cut a strip of this mesh. We're gonna lay it down there and get this thing welded up. So I put that little mesh there. And I'll put a little mesh here. Alright, so this first attempt wasn't the cleanest. However, it's gonna get better from here because the way I'm gonna do this, guys, is the mesh I'm gonna use on the backside of this process, and I'm going to use that to reinforce it on the rear, and then on the front we'll do a clean weld between the cracks. So in this case we have the mesh, and it seems to have worked. This is just to hold up the bumper, so not pretty, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna be underneath the car, and it just kind of like a test area for myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and just disassemble this side and the center, and we'll try to see what we can do with getting this whole thing back together. Alright guys, so I got everything out, and it looks like I'm just going to piecemeal this back together. Seems to be the best route to go here. So I'm going to just start in this area here. I'm going to get the Dremel out and Dremel this out, sand down the area with the sander, and see how she goes here. Like I said, I'm going to start here, and then we'll work our way down, because this is pretty complex, and man, pretty hard. So a lot of patience, but we'll try. Got nothing to lose here, except for like 30 bucks on the welder. Alright guys, so a little update for you since it kind of gets repetitive on camera. But if you guys notice, this side now is finally hanging in there, literally. But we're not doing the outside yet. We're doing the inside first, as you guys have seen. And there is some of the patching that's been going on. We're going to build up the structure here to strengthen the core. And then when everything's back in place and is strong, we're gonna turn this thing around and we're gonna go do the front side. But when we do the front side, since this thing's been like kind of hanging for a little while, you can see some of the plastic protruding. So what I'm gonna do is probably heat up some of the plastic to get it back into position. And then what we'll do is we'll sand and get the Dremel tool out and then rework the plastic into position. And then we'll do the Dremel along the crack to kind of get the two sides flush together, and then we'll put some plastic welder in between without the mesh, and then we'll just sand it down and prep it the surface for final paint. But you can kind of see it taking its shape. I'm gonna try to get it as perfect as possible. Again, I think it's on the lower side of the bumper, so once it's painted and sanded and prepped properly, you're probably gonna barely notice it, which is fine. And even if you notice it a little bit, again, this is, you know, saving me hundreds, if not $1,000 or so on this build. So So far so good though, honestly. I think we're gonna get this fairly close to perfect. We've got a couple little things to work out, which we're doing slowly. You kind of got to do it in sections because the plastic needs to dry and harden. Otherwise, you're just kind of going back and forth, and it's just never ending. So, little update for you on that. But you can see that the curvature of the bumper is holding position, and we're making progress, slowly but surely. Pretty freaking sweet, boys and girls. Alright guys, so this thing is up. I'm gonna start sanding this area here. This thing is pretty solid actually. It's pretty amazing how it held up here. Let me see if this bumper's in a good spot, if I need to re-secure it here. Alright guys, so the purpose here was to bring these surfaces down, and then we're going to build this back up with fresh plastic and then sand it down again. That's the purpose of what I just did there. This area here we'll just do a sand and get some sand it out, and what's it called? I want to say it at the top of my lungs here. We're going to sand it down and then get some body filler. Just, you know, redo the surface. We're going to take our Dremel tool and just kind of open up this crack a little bit. Take this white plastic because this is a little different. We're just going to kind of plastic weld this together on the front. This is more like a I don't know how to explain it. It's like a kind of like a hot glue gun here, but plastic. Kind of cool, if you ask me my opinion. This is by far one of the coolest processes I think I've ever done on a body repair or even a car repair. It's just so satisfying because every minute that goes by, every second that goes by, you can see just this, you can just see the improvement. So we have this pretty much back together here now. So I'm gonna go ahead and sand this down because this plastic is already dry, and level out the surface and see where we're at. Maybe we do a little bit more plastic welding. Like there's a little hole still here before we get into the next stage, which will be prepping for paint. So let's rock it. Alright guys, so I'm going to leave you off on the part 1 here because the part 1 was highly successful. Not only did we successfully get this back together nice and strong, but we also went ahead and I way over engineered this, which was good. But these two tabs here were busted on the fog light. So what I did was inside, I put a little Q-bond in there. I don't know if you guys know what Q-bond is, but it's really good for metal plastics. Anyways, it's like a chemical reaction. You put like a powder in there, and then you put crazy glue over it, and it like hardens super fast, like pretty much instantly, like melts together. So once I did that, I actually went ahead with the plastic welder on the outside here, and we plastic welded back together on the outside. So those tabs are probably stronger than the factory OEM one, which is one over here that's not cracked. So we're good on the fog light. And right now we are good to go on this bumper. So in the part 2 of this bumper, we're gonna continue to finalize the sanding part of this, and then we're gonna primer it, paint it, and get this thing back on the car shortly thereafter. I mean, this is a huge success to this project. Like I said, impossible to find these bumpers, and on top of that, saves me a ton of money as well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment below, share the video if you can, and subscribe. So I see you guys on the next video of this car. The 2011 Saab 9.5 Copart rebuild so far has been a grand success thus far. So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching.